What sinister secrets fester behind the dazzling facade of America's playground? Las Vegas sells a dream of jackpot,
A fantasy of luxury and endless thrills. But peel back that glittering veneer, and you'll find a predatory system of calculated scams, treacherous corners, and casinos engineered for your failure. Unsuspecting tourists are bled for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, completely oblivious to the fleecing. The locals see the con for what it is, but year after year, millions of hopeful visitors march willingly into these meticulously set traps. From outrageous non-negotiable resort fees to predatory promoters and perilous back alleys, Las Vegas harbors a sinister underbelly that you dare not ignore. You must stay with me to the very end because the final revelation on this list is the most appalling of them all. Number 9. The airport slot machines. The absolute worst gamble in the entire city. Step off that plane in Las Vegas and before your bags even hit the carousel, you're ambushed by a symphony of flashing lights and seductive chimes. These airport slots are deliberately positioned to look like a harmless, fun way to kick off your vacation. But do not be deceived. It's a calculated trap. These machines are statistically engineered to be the most predatory in all of Vegas, returning a miserable 85% of the money fed into them, compared to the 90 to 92% you might find on the Strip. That gap might seem trivial, but over hundreds of pulls, it mathematically guarantees your bankroll will be incinerated at a horrifyingly faster rate than anywhere else. And why is this so critical? Because the house knows you're buzzing with excitement, utterly distracted, and desperate to plunge into the fantasy. They shamelessly prey on that post-flight adrenaline rush. While the seasoned players, the ones who know the score, march straight past this nonsense to the Strip or downtown for a fighting chance, countless first-timers are stripped of a huge portion of their budget before they even lay eyes on their hotel room. These airport machines are just the gateway to a much larger, more insidious problem: convenience gambling. Every single facet of this city is meticulously designed to provoke impulsive, reckless spending. Whether it's the extortionate early check-in fees, the $50 poolside cocktails, or the hidden mandatory resort charges, it all starts here. The airport slots set a predatory tone. They are not entertainment. They are the opening salvo in a citywide campaign engineered to systematically drain your wallet. So the next time your plane touches down at McCarran, or Harry Reid as they now call it, you must remember this warning. You must resist that siren call. Guard your money fiercely until you've done the research and found a casino where the cold hard math at least grants you a sliver of a fighting chance. And if you find the airport machines appalling, just wait. The corruption deepens at the table games, where the odds are stacked against you in ways that are even more brazen. Number 8. 000 roulette, the death of a fair game. Imagine the scene. You settle in at a roulette table, the wheel a hypnotic blur, chips piled high, complimentary drinks arriving without end. You're seduced into believing you have nearly a 50-50 shot on red or black. But here in Las Vegas, that fundamental illusion of fairness is being systematically dismantled, all thanks to the monstrosity known as 000 roulette. Once upon a time, traditional roulette wheels in Vegas had 2 zeros, which already gave the house a hefty 5.26% edge. Hardly fair, but it was the known devil. Then they introduced the third zero. With 3 green zeros on that wheel, the house's edge skyrockets to an outrageous 7.69%. That is a staggering 46% leap in the casino's favor, implemented almost overnight. The casinos have the audacity to market this as more fun or faster play. The grim reality? It's a silent, predatory tax levied on anyone who hasn't crunched the numbers. Just consider this. If you're wagering a mere $25 per spin, playing for just one single hour means you are statistically doomed to lose between $60 and $70, purely because of that one extra pocket on the wheel. But the consequences of this go far beyond your wallet. 000 roulette is the ultimate symbol of a disturbing shift in corporate Vegas, a complete abandonment of old-school hospitality in favor of a ruthless new mission to squeeze every last possible dime from every single visitor. This isn't about offering a fair contest anymore. It's about designing entertainment that is, by its very mathematical structure, impossible to beat over any meaningful period of time.
The locals? They wouldn't be caught dead near these tables. The high rollers? They openly mock them. But the tourists, particularly the wide-eyed first-timers, are herded toward them in droves. Blissfully unaware, they are marching straight into one of the most lopsided propositions on the entire casino floor. And this plague is spreading, not just along the Strip, but seeping into mid-tier casinos where you desperately hope for a fairer shake. The true danger here isn't just the loss of money, it's the catastrophic loss of trust. Once players finally realize they're being treated like cattle to be milked, their loyalty vanishes. But for now, Vegas continues to shove this down our throats, banking on the hypnotic flashing lights to overwhelm the damning mathematics. So I'm telling you, if you see a 000 wheel, turn around and walk away. A few 00 tables still exist downtown, offering a marginally less terrible chance. But if you believe the rigged table games are the worst of it, you are tragically mistaken. Wait until you learn about the neighborhoods where the stakes are infinitely higher than money, where your very safety is on the line. Number 7. Naked City. A crime-infested shadow lurking just behind the Strip's glow. Mere blocks from the celebrated, glittering artery of the Strip exists a place most tourists will never hear mentioned. A place the locals will warn you, in no uncertain terms, to never, ever enter. They call it Naked City. Behind the gleaming facade of the Stratosphere, now insultingly rebranded as the Strat, festers a decaying neighborhood. What was once affordable housing for the very people who built this city has devolved into one of Las Vegas's most predatory and dangerous corners. Let's be clear, the grim statistics scream a warning. Naked City consistently tops the charts for brutal assaults and rampant drug crimes, and thefts that plague the entire valley. The per capita crime rate here isn't just high, it's a terrifying double the Las Vegas average. And this isn't just numbers on a page. These are real stories of visitors getting violently mugged, their cars stolen from under them, or being threatened just minutes after straying from the heavily policed tourist zone. And why? It's a toxic cesspool of crushing poverty, a revolving door of transient residents, and the inevitable chaotic spillover from the Strip's debauchery. The casinos might be fortresses of private security, but step 1 foot beyond their property line and law enforcement presence evaporates into thin air. Predators know this. They lie in wait for intoxicated tourists to stumble into their hunting grounds, their wallets fat with cash, their smartphones held aloft for one last selfie. It's a disturbingly easy setup for robbery, or something far, far worse. The absolute tragedy is that unsuspecting visitors believe they're just discovering the real Vegas. They walk out of the Strat, wander a few blocks seeking adventure, and are suddenly swallowed by a nightmare of boarded-up apartments, walls scarred with graffiti, and street corners that serve as brazen, open-air drug markets. This is the horrifying reality that shatters the glitzy fantasy Vegas aggressively sells you. Heed the warnings from locals. If you're anywhere near the Strat, you do not walk around after dark. Don't you dare chase that mythical, authentic vibe outside the Strip's safety bubble. Your only option through this territory is a rideshare or a taxi, and even then you don't get out. So here's the brutal takeaway. A trip to Las Vegas isn't just about losing your money. It's about losing your sense of security, or even your life, the second you cross the wrong, invisible line. And if you think a place called Naked City is the worst of it, you're wrong. The next trap on our list is infinitely more deceptive because it's hidden in plain sight, waiting for you inside the so-called luxury hotels. Number 6. Resort fees, the legalized theft you are powerless to escape. Picture this. You find a Vegas hotel room online for $89 a night. You think you've hit the jackpot, don't you? But the moment you arrive at the check-in desk, the brutal reality hits you like a punch to the gut. A non-negotiable resort fee of $45 per night, plus tax, is slapped onto your bill. In an instant, your deal has been inflated by hundreds of dollars. This is, without a doubt, the most despised and insidious scam in Las Vegas, and they get away with it because it's perfectly legal. These fees were once deceptively marketed as a convenience, covering things like Wi-Fi or gym access. But here is the cold hard truth. You are forced to pay this fee whether you use a single one of these amenities or not. A damning 2024 report from the Las Vegas Review-Journal exposed the con, revealing the average Strip resort fee has skyrocketed to $42.50 a night, with some arrogant luxury properties demanding $55 or more. Why should you be outraged? Because it's a deliberate distortion of the true cost of your stay. Visitors are left feeling utterly betrayed, and they have every right to be. When you dare to compare Las Vegas with honest destinations like Reno or Laughlin, where these parasitic fees are minimal or non-existent, the Strip is exposed for what it is: a shameless corporate cash grab masquerading as a vacation destination. For a family staying just 5 nights, those fees alone can leach nearly $300 from their budget before they've even bought a meal. The fallout from this extends far beyond furious TripAdvisor rants. These fees are making Vegas an international joke. Canadians, who were once the lifeblood of the city's tourism, are now flooding the internet with warnings that these hidden costs have made a Vegas trip completely unaffordable. Think about that. Even bachelor parties and big group trips are now fleeing to places like Cabo, Biloxi, or Laughlin, where the price you see is the price you actually pay. And don't you dare hope this scam will end. The hotels are addicted to this backdoor profit machine. Because unlike room rates that change with demand, these fees almost never go down. And they are cleverly exempted from many online booking sites, making the hotels appear deceptively cheap. So, if you're even considering a Vegas trip, you must budget at least $40 to $60 more per night than the advertised price. Fail to do this, and that great deal will become the single most costly gamble of your entire vacation. But if you thought hidden fees were a sneaky way to pick your pocket, just wait until you hear about the casinos that lure you in with a false promise of luxury, only to leave you utterly broken with a lifetime of regret. Number 5. Circus Circus, the poisonous illusion of a family-friendly casino. On the surface, it's a grotesque parody of a family paradise. Gaudy clowns, rigged carnival games, a decaying circus tent, and the desperate theme park vibe of the Adventure Dome. Parents are duped into thinking it's the perfect compromise. A place for the kids while they gamble. But anyone who lives here will warn you, this is one of the Strip's most dangerously misleading casinos. And it starts with the price. Those rock-bottom hotel rates are nothing but bait on a hook. Circus Circus lures you in with the promise of being the cheapest stay on the Strip. But don't be fooled. The real trick is a vicious 1-2 punch of extortionate resort fees, dilapidated rooms, and prices for food that are nothing short of a travesty. Guests are duped into paying a mid-tier price for an experience that barely qualifies as bottom of the barrel. And then there's the location. A disaster waiting to happen. Circus Circus is exiled to the desolate far north end of the Strip, dangerously isolated from the safety of the main tourist hubs. And if you think that sounds harmless, think again. It means you're a stone's throw from some of Vegas's most notorious neighborhoods, including the infamous Naked City. Families who dare to step outside after dark are plunged into a world of menacing shadows and genuine peril. This is a far cry from the wholesome family fun plastered on their deceptive brochures. And the danger isn't just the feeling, it's a fact. The crime statistics from the Las Vegas police are nothing short of horrifying. The zone surrounding Circus Circus is a documented hotspot for relentless robberies, brutal assaults, and a constant plague of car break-ins. Now, combine that with a never-ending stream of unsuspecting, budget-conscious visitors, and you've created a feeding ground for predatory criminals. And believe me, the danger doesn't stop at the door. Inside, the casino is infamous for its soul-crushing slot machines, designed to bleed you dry. Offering payouts so abysmal, they're an insult to the entire Strip. And those carnival games, don't you dare think they're for innocent fun. They are calculated, classic midway grifts, where your odds of winning are practically non-existent.
Parents who arrive hoping for a magical, kid-friendly escape are instead left feeling betrayed, fleeced, and utterly devastated. And the ultimate fallout from this charade? Circus is systematically poisoning its own well. Families who get scammed once never return, and the toxic word of mouth spreads like wildfire. In an age where Las Vegas is fighting for every single return visitor, this kind of reputation is a catastrophic wound. So let me be clear, that giant grinning clown sign isn't an invitation, it's a dire warning. The moment you check in, the joke is on you. And if you think a decaying, predatory casino is the worst of it, you are tragically mistaken. Just wait until you encounter the street-level vultures who will turn your dream vacation into a living nightmare. Number 4, the plague of street promoters and their VIP club scams. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The predators in flashy shirts swarming the strip, waving their deceptive little cards. They promise you the world, free drinks, exclusive VIP access. For a moment, it might even feel like part of the city's electric charm. But locals know the horrifying truth. These so-called promoters are running one of the most vicious, predatory rackets in the entire city. Here's the anatomy of the scam. These hustlers will corner you, dangling irresistible offers of high-end bottle service, entry into the hottest nightclubs, or unbelievably cheap tours. They'll blind you with glossy flyers, drop the names of celebrities they've never met, and use aggressive high-pressure tactics to force you to lock in your spot with your hard-earned cash or a swipe of your credit card. But here's the sickening truth they conveniently leave out. The deal is almost always completely worthless. That $50 VIP pass they sold you? It's a joke. You could have waltzed in for free just by signing up online or showing up early. And that $200 bottle service special? Prepare to be financially violated. Once you're trapped inside, you're slammed with outrageous hidden gratuities, non-negotiable tips, and mandatory mixers that inflate your bill into the thousands. As for those exclusive tours, you'll be herded onto a shabby bus and dumped at a depressing strip mall or a grimy bar you would never, ever choose to visit. But the deception is just the beginning. The real issue is your safety. A terrifying number of these promoters are completely unlicensed phantoms. They are rogue operators who will melt back into the crowd the second your money is in their hands, leaving you with nothing. The horror stories are endless. Tourists humiliated at club entrances with fake wristbands, or discovering fraudulent charges on their credit cards for fantasies that were never delivered. So why is this so critically important? Because it exposes a cancer at the heart of Vegas tourism: the complete and utter erosion of trust. People journey here expecting legendary, world-class hospitality, and instead, they're hunted on the sidewalks like easy prey at a crooked carnival. This poison creates a toxic divide between locals and tourists, forcing the police to constantly issue desperate warnings against these sidewalk predators. For those who live here, these scams transform the Strip into a hostile territory. For visitors, they don't just ruin a night out. They obliterate your budget faster than a disastrous losing streak at the blackjack table. Let this be your ironclad rule. If an offer in Vegas sounds too good to be true, it is a lie. You must only ever trust official box offices or the concierge at your hotel, or use verified, legitimate apps. Never, ever fall for a random street pitch, no matter how slick the presentation. And if you think these con artists are the bottom of the barrel, just wait until you discover what's happening inside the casinos themselves, where the very games you believed were based on skill are being systematically rigged against you. Number 3, the corruption of blackjack. The tragic death of the fair game. Once upon a time, blackjack was the undisputed king of Las Vegas. Players revered it because with skill and strategy, you could shrink the house's advantage to less than 1%. It was the last bastion in the casino where your intelligence actually gave you a fighting chance. But in the greedy, modern Vegas, that fair fight is being deliberately extinguished. Now, witness the rise of the disgraceful 6-to-5 blackjack payout.
For decades, the sacred rule was that a natural blackjack paid 3 to 2. A $100 bet would rightfully earn you $150. But now, in an act of pure avarice, a growing plague of casinos are only paying a sickening 6 to 5. Which means your $100 blackjack win is slashed to a pathetic $120. You think that's trivial? Think again. Over time, this scam inflates the house edge from less than 1% to a staggering 2% or more, literally doubling the casino's stranglehold on your wallet. But the deception doesn't end there. These corporate behemoths insidiously slip in other rules designed to bleed you dry. The dealer hitting on a soft 17? That's another dagger for the house. Crippling restrictions on doubling down? Check. So many decks in the shoe that card counting becomes a fool's errand? Absolutely. And when you combine them, these so-called tweaks have grotesquely twisted blackjack from a game of skill into one of the Strip's most predatory cons. And the most sickening part? The endless stream of tourists never sees it coming. They're blinded by the neon glare, lured in by the cheap-looking $10 tables, and the flow of cheap liquor, jumping headfirst into a game where the math has been weaponized against them. Meanwhile, the locals, the ones who know the score, wouldn't be caught dead playing blackjack on the Strip. They take their money to off-strip or downtown havens where honest 3 to 2 tables can still be found, even with higher minimums. For the unsuspecting visitor, the consequences of this bait and switch are absolutely brutal. A player hoping to make $500 last an evening of fun will watch in horror as it evaporates twice as fast at a rigged 6 to 5 table. The intoxicating illusion of a fair chance shatters, replaced by a bitter cocktail of frustration and betrayal. And yet, the corporate machine keeps pushing this scam, preying on the ignorance of the average tourist. So let me be perfectly clear. If you dare to play blackjack in this town, you must hunt down a 3 to 2 table, even if it costs you more to sit down. Because if you don't, you're not gambling. You're just making a mandatory donation to a billionaire's bonus. And if you think a rigged game of blackjack is the worst way Vegas can burn you, brace yourself. The next danger we're exposing cuts far deeper, because this isn't about losing your money. It's about a level of human suffering you will be forced to confront. Number 2, the homeless crisis. This is where the glittering facade of Vegas violently collides with its brutal reality. Walk the Strip at night, and yes, you'll see the dazzling neon, the choreographed fountains, and the endless parade of tourists snapping selfies. But dare to look past that manufactured glare, into the shadows, and you will witness a Vegas they pray you never see. This city suffers from one of the most catastrophic homeless rates per capita in the entire United States. For every 1,000 residents, a shocking 5 to 6 people are unhoused, a figure that dwarfs the national average of roughly 2. Most tourists are utterly unprepared for this. They arrive expecting paradise and are instead confronted by the shocking sight of tent cities under freeway overpasses and desperate people sleeping in the very doorways of the opulent casinos. They witness entire encampments hidden away in the storm drains, a subterranean city of the forgotten. It's estimated that thousands of souls live in these dark flood tunnels, a hidden world of despair just feet beneath the glittering Strip. And why should this shatter your vacation fantasy? Because it's a crisis that now spills directly into the manufactured image Vegas sells. Visitors are now routinely confronted by panhandlers on the pedestrian bridges, by aggressive hustlers camped outside casino entrances, and by individuals clearly in the throes of a mental health crisis wandering the Strip. And while many are simply desperate, some of these encounters can and do escalate into something far more dangerous. This creates terrifying safety concerns, the very concerns that locals have been screaming about for years, only to be ignored. The roots of this catastrophe, of course, run deep. Skyrocketing rents, with the median soaring nearly 30% since 2020, brutal service sector layoffs during the pandemic, and a criminally underfunded social safety net have created a perfect storm of misery. The result is a raw, visible desperation now festering in the heart of a city that worships excess. For the people who live here, the consequences are a daily tragedy. For the tourists tourists.
It's a gut-wrenching reminder that this city of dreams is built on a crumbling foundation. We're now seeing families with children cutting their vacations short, fleeing after encounters that leave them shaken and disturbed. Even lifelong Vegas loyalists are now abandoning the city, seeking refuge in cheaper, cleaner alternatives like Laughlin, Reno, or Biloxi. Vegas desperately wants to sell you an escape, but this crisis forces a harsh reality right in your face. And that brutal collision is leaving countless people to conclude that yes, the magic is well and truly gone. But if you believe this is the city's rock bottom, you are tragically mistaken. The number one danger on our list reveals something even more insidious: how the casino floor itself, the very heart and soul of Las Vegas, is having its humanity surgically removed. Number 1. The rise of the robot dealers. This is the story of how Vegas is actively murdering its own soul. There was a time, not long ago, when a Vegas table was an experience. It was more than just betting. It was connecting with a dealer, trading jokes with the person next to you, and feeling that electric spark of a shared human moment. But walk into most casinos today and you'll be met with a cold, sterile, and deeply unsettling replacement. Soulless robotic arms and automated tables are systematically replacing the very people who gave this city its pulse. Electronic blackjack, automated craps, video roulette, a digital plague. These machines are spreading like a cancer. The casinos will spin you a tale about them being faster and more efficient. Don't be fooled. The truth is brutally simple. They slash labor costs and ensure zero mistakes, especially mistakes that might accidentally favor you. But what they are truly eliminating is the last shred of human connection. And why is this the ultimate betrayal? Because Las Vegas was built on the magic of showmanship. The dealers were never just card slingers. They were performers, they were entertainers, and sometimes they were your guide. They were the ones who taught you the ropes, who celebrated your wins, who created the very energy that made the table come alive. They could even make losing feel like part of the show, a shared joke. But these machines, they offer no such comfort. They just display heartless digits on a screen, a cold, clinical accounting of how the house is methodically gutting your bankroll. But make no mistake, this goes far beyond a simple change in atmosphere. This automation plague is a calculated corporate assault, a strategy that blatantly values cold, hard cash over human lives and livelihoods. We're talking about thousands of real people. Casino employees cast aside, their hours slashed, or their jobs eliminated entirely as these unfeeling machines take over. And the tourists? They feel it. The Strip is becoming a ghost of its former self, chilly, impersonal, and utterly devoid of its famous warmth. It feels more like a sterile airport terminal than the supposed entertainment capital of the entire world. And for the players, these robotic dealers signal a catastrophic breakdown of trust. You can't reason with a machine, you can't build a rapport with it, you can't even get a simple clarification on the rules. It's a sterile, heartless interaction that is frankly a terrifying glimpse into a dystopian future. And that brings us to the ultimate con. The final, unforgivable betrayal. Las Vegas is no longer content with just emptying your wallet. Now, it's actively ripping out its own soul. And once that last shred of human connection is severed, what on earth is left to bring anyone back? This is the rotten core of the new Las Vegas, a cesspool of scams, dangerous streets, and casinos that have become so blinded by greed, they've forgotten the very reason people ever flocked here. If you've been a victim of any of these predatory traps, I need you to share your story in the comments below. Warn others. And you must like, subscribe, and share this because people need to know this isn't the Las Vegas you think you remember. That city is gone.